Hi, I'm Paris, and I just purchased my OnePlus 5 phone based in some measure on how amazing this new camera is supposed to be. It has two lenses, looks kind of similar to what's in the latest iPhone, which many people argue is the best camera you can get on a cell phone right now. So I was very excited about this, but after the OnePlus 5 started shipping, some people have been saying, camera's really not that great, it's not working the way that they explained that it would. But I wanted to find out, how is this two camera technology supposed to work, and how does it actually work in this phone?
Epic Review Guys.
Here are the new cameras in the new location on the back of the OnePlus 5. They moved it from around here up to here. I've already taken a number of pictures with my finger in front of the lens, so I don't really care for having the lens in the corner. The one closest to the edge here is the standard no magnification lens. The lens closer to the center, as many people understood it before the phone started shipping, has a built-in optical lens magnification. We were thinking of 2x, which meant pictures you took using this lens, the object would appear twice as large, but there would be no loss of detail. Now my OnePlus 3 phone will allow me to zoom in and make objects appear large, and when I take the picture they're big on the screen. Probably the phone you have will do that as well. But that's not optical zoom. Optical zoom is where you move the distance between the lenses that are involved in focusing and capturing the light for the picture, and you get magnification just like when you're using binoculars or looking through a telescope. My OnePlus 3 and probably your phone, they cheat. What they do is they take the regular picture and then they just crop it. They zoom in on one part of that picture. So what's necessary for optical zoom to work? Now this has a 20x true optical zoom, which means I can zoom in enough to make a little thing across the street actually fill the whole screen, and when I take a picture of it, it'll still be sharp and clear. You've got to move the lenses apart in proportion to how much zoom you want. You want 20x of zoom, you got to move those lenses a fair bit apart. Imagine trying to fit this kind of thing into a phone. Now, OnePlus had convinced me before I bought the phone that this second lens was going to have 2x optical magnification, which gives you that nice sharp 2x image. Since then, it appears it's not actually a 2x magnification. This is from what I've been able to read online from the company. Sounds like it might be a 1.65x magnification, with the remainder from 1.65 to 2 being made up by some algorithms. But what it all comes down to, I think, is that's digital zoom the rest of the way. So assuming it really is just 1.65x magnification, why would OnePlus do that and figure, oh, I'll just round it up to 2, knowing how people get into stats and details and specs on electronics? It was going to turn into a mess. But just because the camera isn't exactly what a lot of people expected, does that mean it's not a good camera? That it doesn't take good pictures? That zoom lens really isn't functional? I'll show you some pictures I've taken. Let's find out. Well, I've had another week with the OnePlus 5 and taken a trip up to Seattle, so I've had a chance to take lots of pictures under different conditions, as well as some video clips, so I'll be showing you those now. I did want to mention that the only way you can tell which lens is being used, other than putting your finger in front of one at a time, is once you've taken the picture, you have to go into the properties of the picture, and you can look at the aperture of the lens and the actual dimensions of the photo, because there's a different sensor with each lens. So when you see the 1.7 f-stop aperture, that's the standard camera, and the 2.6 f-stop aperture, that's the zoom. I so wish they had made it so you could manually choose which one to use when you're taking a picture, but the phone decides. So the camera looks at the scene, I don't know if it's through the standard lens, and decides if there's enough light, or maybe it looks through both and decides which one would take the better picture, and it uses that one. There is a pro mode to this, and I'll show you some of the features that are enabled with that, but choosing which lens is used is not one of them. Sorry if you feel like you're watching my vacation slideshow, because you kind of are, but I put some nice background music in there for you. I borrowed that from my World in 4K channel. That's from a video I made called Springtime in Texas, which was my attempt to be really artistic. Now, in the days of film cameras, I had a fairly nice 35mm camera with some different lenses, and I was pretty good at adjusting f-stop, shutter speed, speed of the film, to get pretty good pictures. I'm a little rusty on it now, but let me show you the Pro mode here that lets you do the same kind of thing if you know exactly the look you want. Pro mode on the OnePlus 5 is actually called Pro mode. And there are several options here. You get the histogram here, which I'm not that familiar with, but I know it shows you the light in different temperatures, so you can get a sense of the color warmth in a picture. We have the ISO here, which you can dial in. White balance. See the change. Next up is shutter speed. If you take it at a very fast 1/8000th of a second, you're not going to have much light coming in the lens. And you can set it for as long as, that's a 30-second, probably about a 50-second, 1-minute exposure. This is focus. This is nice to have because sometimes, especially when you're trying to take a picture of something up close, the camera keeps going back and forth, searching, seeking for the proper focus, but it can't find it, but I know it when I see it. By the way, this line flashing in the middle is a horizontal line. You can have that taken off. There's an option for that, but there's the focus. And the exposure compensation, +1, +2, -1, -2. If you have a bright background and a subject in the front you want to get more detail on, you can adjust it like so. Once you go to the trouble of adjusting the settings for a particular shot, if you need to go take some other pictures and you come back, you don't want to have to reset everything again, you can save this as a preset to come right back to. You can also set it to save the raw picture files. This is so they won't be compressed into a JPEG. You can actually take the raw file, load it into Photoshop, and do all of your own adjusting. And though I'm not going to get into it in this video, there is a portrait mode which uses a depth of field effect. I thought it was actually done with the lenses, but I was disappointed to learn that it's just done through the camera figuring out the subject of the photo and then basically blurring out everything behind it, which is, I think, the same way that the latest iPhone does it, but people seem to be crazy over those results. And even if you're in normal photo mode, they make it so easy to get to that by just sliding in this direction. There are more features to explore with this camera, but I don't want to turn this into a marathon video, so I'll just cover a last couple things and show you a few more photos. If you have particular questions about the camera as a still camera, as a video camera, the slow motion or other features, get in touch with me through the comments down below this video. If there's a lot of interest in seeing how it works in some particular way, I can do another video or I can post something on Twitter about that. To close out the video, I'm going to show you 2 pictures taken inside my computer case. You can't quite see it here, but I have a lighted fan, I have memory sticks that glow, and a light on the water cooler. I'm going to take the exact same shot with the OnePlus 5 and my old OnePlus 3. You can see the difference between those two, and then I'll close out the video with some macro floral shots taken on my OnePlus 5.